welcome to another reading and collecting of A Wasteful Death. With me, Kindar. The Tiger writes, Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. Want to listen to these live? It's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Which, and today we are doing chapter 20. Marlot felt a hand on his shoulder and growled as he went for it with his teeth. He gnashed on empty air. He whirled and glared at the rabbit who had touched him. Backed away from him, eyes wide, flexing her hand. Her voice quivered. All right. Marlowe turned and stepped toward her, teeth still bare. Something squished under his foot. He looked down and frowned. Sir, I'm medic Hirdalim. Think you might be in shock. Can you tell me your name? Marlowe looked at her and blinked a few times. I was a medic here. He opened his mouth, but he couldn't think of anything to say. Sir, I need you to tell me your name. Who is that? Stood behind him. Marlowe looked at the iguana over his shoulder. Body? Right, yes, of course. He was an investigator. That had to be an unclaimed body. Something about that didn't feel right. He tasted blood. He wiped at his muzzle, and his jacket sleeve came dark red liquid. Didn't think it was his blood. He didn't feel hurt. Rabbit was still talking. Shut up! He barked. Thing wasn't right. Body wasn't unclaimed. It was his. Why had he killed him? He'd been chasing someone. That was the name he didn't hear, and he and Trembor had. Trembor! Marlot ran past the medic. She yelled at him, but he ignored her. He took the stairs two at a time, not slowing for the turns, and almost fell. Around the building, he saw a bobcat, a red wolf, and a bull kneeling around a lion. Marlot saw the medic patches on their jacket. Get away from him! They looked at him and immediately scattered. Fell to his. The lion's shoulder was bandaged, but blood was slowly seeping through. The leg was held straight by a splint. He took the lion's right hand and nuzzled it. Please don't die, Trem. I swallowed hard and stared at Trem's chest as it up and down. He didn't want his lion to die. He couldn't die. What if? He tried to keep his mind from going there, but the image of Trem's body being freezer full, he never. The years of working together and everything they shared, he never once. Last chance. I love you, Trem. Don't leave me. I love you too, Carla. I'd soft. Good. That asshole. Arm, as his left arm moved a little, handed for him. I'm not ever leaving you, but you need to do me a favor. Anything. Marlot would do whatever it took to keep Trembor with it. Let the men. Marlot looked around to see three of them standing a few. Fear and concern fighting on their. Placed Trembor's arm back down and kissed. Marlot followed the ambulance to the hospital behind them as they pushed Gurney into the evaluation department. I'm sorry, sir, but you can't come in. Only family is allowed past this point. It was an otter and not very big, but he talked with confidence. Marlot wasn't going to be separated from Trembor. Grabbed the other by the collar and pulled him close. He's my mate. Orderly swallowed, looked from Trembor's eyes to his muzzle. Need to clean up, sir. To clean up first, sir. The wolf deposited the orderly on the ground and found a washroom where he washed up as he could. He winced as he tried to remove his shirt. Blood had dried on the cloth and his fur was matted. Once his fur was no longer clotted with blood and antiseptic clinging to him, Marlot went back to the treatment room. Looked in through a small window at the door. Medics were busying themselves around the line. One was putting a cast on his. Marlot couldn't hear what they were asking, but Trembor answered with nods and head. Marlot almost burst into the room when one of them, the Labrador, prodded Trembor's shoulder and the lion groaned. He knew what they were doing was needed to protect his lion from them almost, but the need protect his lion from them almost overwhelmed him. His claws dug into the doorframe to keep more holes in an already pockmarked piece. The Labrador stepped out of the room. Is he okay? Marlot asked. He's in good condition, but the bullet is still in his shoulder. The surgeon will be seeing him in the morning. Can't he see him sooner? Marlot asked. He has more surgery to see. He has more serious surgery to see for the to see to. He has more serious injury surgeries for the rest of the day. If you're willing to pay for it, I can call another hospital and see if their surgeon is available, but even then, there's no guarantee they'll be here any sooner. Well, hesitated, shook his head. It's okay. He looked through the window again. Just a shoulder wound. Would be okay through the The medic looked at him. It's going to be fine. They're finishing cleaning the wound. It's bandaged again. He'll be in the room. Single? That covered by his policy? Carl shook his head. I'll pay for it. Well, I'll have I'll have the arrangement made. The arrangements made. 10 minutes later, Marlot followed as the two wheeled the lion to a room. They helped him on the bed and painkiller. I'll help him. I'll help him on this. He's laughed. His hands were shaking as he unbuttoned the lion's shirt. You know, done it. Room. Don't. Cringe. Don't talk about that. Not here. Not now. Astonished. Hey. Placed his hand against Marlot. Okay, I'm going. Fine. I'm afraid, Trem. There. I said it. I'm afraid I'm going to lose you like I lost him. Not going to die, Marl. I'm not going to die. Marl, this isn't a serious injury. I'll be out of here in a few days at most. At the most. Sorry. Wiped the tears back. Before he could go back to under him, Trevor kissed him passionately. With the lion undressed and sleeping, Marlot's on a chair to wait. To avoid having to look at his lion, he sat and started to report. When the door opened, When the door opened, Marlot woke with a start and grabbed for the pad slipping out of his hand. He was expecting one of the medics, maybe the surgeon, that a mature lioness walked in, followed by a younger version of herself and two cubs, one male and one female around gold. Smiled at him as they stood on the bed, and Marlot felt dread form in the. A male lion entered, and Marlot stood, placed on the bed. There was no mistaking the family resemblance. That wasn't why he stood. The male was the patriarch, and radiated power in his. For a moment, Marlot felt like he was back home, standing for one of the town's council. The lion studied him with piercing eyes, of becoming smaller on the officer said, "You are the one who killed the male who did this to my son." The lion kept it soft. "Yes, sir," Marlot tentatively. "Thank you. If there's ever anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to ask. You avenged my son. That almost makes you family." There was a chuckle from the bed. A little more than almost, Dad. "You're awake." The longer lioness draped herself over Trembor, hugging him. Took a sharp breath. "Watch the shoulder, sis." She jumped off as if she'd been burned. "Oh, I'm so sorry." Two cubs decided but it was now okay to climb the bed and foot of it. Looked at Trembor, then something to each other. Older lioness. "What are you doing?" "Hey, Mom." Her. "I can barely feel it." Her ears swiveled back. "Sorry." Lion clears it, and the rumble reverberated around the room. Cubs look around, their ears tilting. "What did you mean by what you said?" "The one." Marlot felt the dread intensified as they intensified as they all looked at him. "But he's not a lion!" exclaimed one of the cub. Marlowe didn't have time to decide if he should flee. Strider wrapped his arm around him and held him tightly. Welcome to the family. My name's Torin, but you better get used to calling me Dad. Wolf couldn't say anything. Sir, was all that came out. Was all that came out. He could see the two lionesses beam at him. Don't you two go hug your new uncle. The cubs, his father released. We get his pad number? The female one asked, extending her arm to the wolf. No. Ronald gave him a questioning look as he hugged her. I'll explain later. Ronald hugged the one, and the other one, then mother and sister. After that, he excused himself and left alone. He leaned against the wall opposite the door and tried to stop shaking. He had been terrified of their reaction to Trembor's announcement, but ready to defend him. He had been willing to take them all on, hadn't been prepared for their easy acceptance. I thought they might chase you out. Hamel was sitting on a bench a few. How did it go? He composed himself. It went okay. Studied him for a moment. They know. What? About you and the lion? Marlot stared at her, looked for the close. With supreme effort, he kept himself from fleeing. How? How did you find out? Smiled. Marlot, honey, I'm not blind. You all but screamed, I love you, back at the station. Got him to focus back on their case. Then there's Tristan. You killed him for hurting your partner. Only more professional than that. It took a moment for Marlot to realize she didn't have a problem with their relationship. Plopped down next to her. Have you found out where he got the gun? No. I've contacted the protectors, but they might not find out. They're pretty close-mouthed when it comes to their arsenal. My guess is they're going to confiscate it and not tell us anything. They do that? The gun's involved in a shooting. There's no one for your partner to press charges against. Not going to be needed in court. Kristen's dead, so there's nothing to investigate there, and they're the protectors. Them off and protect us if another country attacks. Closed their eyes and leaned back. At least, we'll close that rapist case now. We found a box filled with females' undergarment body that will match them to his victims. Trouble. She took out Kristen's ID card from a pocket and handed it to him. Do you want us to keep the body for you? He took the card and turned it in his. Eat it or burn it, I don't care. Reached for his pad, but remembered it wasn't. She hugged him. I'll donate it to a shelter. Then ruffled the fur in his head. Don't wait until you need me on a case. Dropping by again. Walking away. Marlot watched her leave. Taking any more, but didn't. Hamel had noticed. Who else knew? He'd been so careful about how he acted around Trembor. At least he thought he had. He leaned back and started laughing. Matter anymore? No? There had been 3 medics present when he told Trembor he loved him. He had no idea how many people had been around when he told that orderly he was a mate, and family knew and had accepted him. No one struck him down for loving another. Laughter died down. Maybe Trembor was right. Maybe there really was nothing wrong with himself. That concludes chapter 20 of A Wasteful Death. If you are enjoying this, please like. If you want to know when the next one will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the book as well as the others in the series, they're available on all major e-retailer. If you want to support me, that's on my Patreon, where you also get access to about everything else I've written. If you want to listen to me do these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Twitch. The links are in the notes. I'll wish you a good day.